Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Unofficially Opinionated. I'm Christian. That is Nate. I pointed the right way this time.
Yeah, you did.
I got it.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah, it's
always
it.
just
It's
going to do
good.
this. And then I can't mess it up. But we are back with our review of episode 3 of Good Omens season 2.
Yeah.
Yes, we just watched the episode. So the reaction you should have seen by now. If not, go back and watch it.
Yeah.
This is the review.
This is a review of the reaction.
Yeah. So, Nate, reviews, thoughts, episode. What do you think?
That was how do I want to explain that? That episode was very thought provoking.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with specifically, I should say, with the whole grave digging and Aziraphale talking about how the poor people have more chances to be good, I guess, than,
Right.
Stuff like that. That was very excuse me. That was very thought provoking. If you want the full kind of thought process, it's on Patreon, but
to say about
we did.
that.
We did. So I thought it was just thought provoking all together, but I also like that with every episode I do like mystery, so I like that with every episode they're getting it's getting deeper, like it's getting more, I don't know, not interesting, because it's still interesting. It's just more like, I'm like, ooh, what happened? Well, you're like, what's going to happen next? Sort of thing. So I didn't feel like this in season 1. Season 1 was less a mystery because I knew what was going to happen.
It's pretty
this
straightforward.
One, it was. This one, I'm like, where are we going? What's happening? Like, so I really like it. What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah. To your point, season 1 was definitely more about how are we going to get to resolving the apocalypse. We know it's not going to happen. How are they going to prevent it?
Right. Yes.
This is like, what?
Right.
Is happening.
That's exactly what it is. Like, what?
Something is coming bad. We think, it seems, but why and what and who and for what?
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying that. I'm liking kind of the flashbacks to previous, kind of tying into the current. This episode, though, it wasn't clear to me, and maybe they'll show us later, the exact linkage between that flashback scene and current, right? So they went back and showed the resurrectionist and them digging up the bodies and all that conversation, and how he got ran out of town, and then they named the pub after him. And that pub is where this album is playing now.
Right. Yeah.
So we see there's something linking those things.
Yeah.
But they didn't really.
It's not very clear. Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't show any reason why any of this stuff goes together.
Right.
This is true. Yeah. I was hoping for a little bit of like,
closure.
That's that. Well, like, that's why they showed us those scenes. Like, they were interesting and thought provoking. But I still have no idea like why they showed that to us.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was thinking while I was watching that, is she, because he gave her all this money afterwards and he told her to go buy a farm. I'm wondering if she's the one that bought the public house, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
it seems kind of far-fetched, or maybe like her descendants or something like that, maybe. But yeah, it's true. There, apart from the fact of the resurrectionist, because he like mentioned it like straight up, and apart from the statue in the statue of Gabriel in the whatever, there's no real link between the entire story. At least I didn't feel like there was.
Yeah, like, we know the statue is there.
Right.
Why? Right. They never said like why that statue is in this particular town of Gabriel with the cross. To your point, like, what does this even mean? Like, why is this here?
Right. Know. Yeah.
We know this album jukebox thing is happening in this particular town. We know Gabriel came there with someone,
with some masons, which I wonder why that's important.
Right. Like, what is that about? So and why did you assume it were masons, or is there some reason? Like, all that. It just seemed like we have much less information
Right.
after this episode. The more I
Yeah.
talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, they just caused more questions than answers.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on?
Side note, do you think that we would do good in an escape room?
Oh yeah.
I feel like we ask.
Yeah. I mean, okay, here's the thing. We'll do very well or we'll overthink it and like miss the obvious thing. Right? It's like press this button and we're like, what could button stand for? Button. All right. Let's see. There's got to be a cipher somewhere. It's like, no, just press the thing. Like, just push it. Just push it. I can see that happening.
I can see that happening.
This is making it way too complicated. It's like, it's not that complicated.
No.
Turn the dial, push the thing. Like, that's it. That's all you got to do. We're like, if only there's a way to know.
Yeah. It just came to me. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, do you have any? Do you know enough to even have any theories about what's happening?
No, because the thing that's racking my mind right now is what is it? So in their one scene, they showed very conspicuously the box that Gabriel was holding that was empty, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then in another scene, they showed very conspicuously this fly,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there is something there, but I don't know what. Like it's very good mystery weaving, you know.
And they mentioned the Book of Life in episode 1, and they haven't mentioned
right,
it
and they
since
haven't
then.
mentioned it yet.
Right, and
Since, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I heard someone say, either him or someone say that he had the book, because I think that's what was supposed to be in the box. But it's not there, and he doesn't even seem to even remember anything about anything.
Right.
So why is the book need to be found? What does the book do?
Mm-hmm.
What is going on?
Yeah.
And why? I mean, I think this is simpler. It seems that when someone says certain phrases, they trigger his true memories, right? Like they say a phrase to Gabriel, and he all of a sudden will kind of come back in a moment and like chant some piece, and then he just like comes back.
Well, I mean, it only happened when Crowley triggered it the first time, and he triggered it.
Well, it's been twice now.
Right, but both times have been with Crowley, and the first time was Crowley basically threatened him. Like he took off his glasses and stared at him, and he was like, "Remember," or something like that. And the second time, he didn't do anything. It doesn't seem it was inadvertent. He said something, and then Gabriel just remembered, and I don't remember what he said.
Yeah, but it tied to what Gabriel started saying. Like both
Right,
times,
exactly.
whatever was said was like, oh, that
right,
ties to this
exactly.
thing, and now like, oh shoot, I remember this, and then like went back.
Right.
What's also interesting is that it was episode 2, right, when he said like my brain can't contain all the memories, right? Like,
right. Mm-hmm.
Were you yourself for a moment?
Right.
Because Jim wouldn't say that. Jim doesn't even know
true.
what's going on.
He doesn't even. Yeah, exactly.
Right, and so it's like for a split second, Gabriel was there and was aware of what was happening.
Yeah,
very briefly, because these trance things don't seem to be Gabriel being aware. It's just like a memory being
yeah,
out,
exactly.
And then he goes back.
Yeah,
but that brief moment, it was like he had some kind of consciousness. I don't know, maybe.
But you know what? This is not even. This has nothing to do. This just made me think about episode 2, when he remembered. The first time he remembered, he quoted the whole son of the morning star,
right?
The morning star, or whatever.
When God was talking to Job.
But that's what was interesting. And I just thought about it was God was talking to Job. Aziraphale and Crowley were jealous, or like, not jealous maybe, but just kind of like envious of the fact that they he like questions were being asked, like God was asking questions to Job directly, but it was Gabriel actually who was quoting God, right? So to me, I'm just like, is Aziraphale and Crowley living a different existence than Gabriel and the other kind of angels? Granted, Gabriel and Michael are supposed to be archangels, but apparently, if they're archangels, they are probably only reporting to the Megatron. What's it called? The
Metatron.
Metatron. Megatron. They're only reporting to the Metatron, so they are also probably not getting. And it seems like they're not getting direct information from God anyway, because in the first season they were talking about the fact that it's this ineffable plan, but then Aziraphale called him out and was like, you don't actually really know what the ineffable plan is, right? So it's interesting that Gabriel is able to quote this when God wasn't talking to Gabriel.
Right. So there's a few explanations, right? God could have given Gabriel a similar speech before kicking him out. Right?
Maybe, yeah.
Right? Gabriel asked questions like, "Oh, really?" and gave a kind of a similar spiel and like goodbye.
Right.
Gabriel somehow was privy to the conversation, or Gabriel is remembering being there at that time, and just so happens to be the same words. But Gabriel again was there, when Adam and Eve were created, right? Gabriel, he was there, so maybe he was also literally there when God was doing that, right? When, like that phrase he mentioned about what was it? Were you there when? I forget the exact phrasing.
Yeah,
was Gabriel actually there, right? And so he's remembering it and using the same term, same phrasing as God because he was actually also there, whereas Job was not, which is interesting, right? Like, were you there? Well, Gabriel was like, "Wow, yeah, I was there."
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right.
He's using okay.
Yeah, so same description because Gabriel was also literally there, not doing it per se, but
he wouldn't say the thing that. Oh no, I don't know, because I don't remember if he was quoting what God said or if he was saying something like God would have said it, right? So I don't know if he was actually quoting God,
right,
or not. That's interesting.
I'm sure someone watching this will go back and be like, "Oh, actually, what they said in second 53 of the first
right."
These people know all this stuff, and
they do.
Unfortunately, we're watching it once and we're keeping it moving. So
so there's no.
If we missed it, we missed it, right? So help us out in the comments because we don't know what's going on. But yes. So I mean, did you enjoyed the episode pretty much?
I did. It was. I feel like it was a little slower maybe than episode 2, but it still was very deep. I think there was a lot less. God, I need to stop saying that word. There was. I feel like there was less, maybe comic intervention in this episode because we were making more of a poignant point. I
mean, they had the little Inspector Constable in the beginning,
right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's also very interesting. Like, I do not understand how these angels cannot tell the difference. Like, they cannot recognize a demon.
Yeah, it seems odd because we know that Aziraphale and Crowley specifically masked Gabriel, right? So he's not able to be sensed or noticed by them.
Yeah, no, but this is back in Job. They didn't recognize.
But like Crowley himself, we've not seen him do anything to make himself be invisible. Now, has he, or did Aziraphale somehow cloak him in a way?
I guess
maybe they'll show us later. Like they had some arrangement where they cloaked each other or something. Because it is strange that they don't have any clue who he is. I mean, more broadly, it's interesting the way they portray angels and demons as being so not just ignorant. Like ignorant I can get, but also kind of stupid. Right? Like ignorant is just you just don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But they seem to be also like very. I mean, we mentioned this before, like slow to learn.
Right.
But maybe
Yeah.
that's just our perception of time. But like they just seem to be like not catch a clue.
Right. Yeah.
Right. They just
I
kind of
don't. Yeah.
doofuses in a lot of ways. I'm like, what is it? Like, why? I'd be curious to know. I don't read much about like Gaiman or Pratchett's like thought process or how they wrote things or why, but I'd be curious to know like what their thought process was for how they portray angels and demons.
Right. Yeah.
Being so ignorant and so kind of single-minded and like kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just not typical.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's more conniving than it is.
Yeah,
dumb.
Like they can be tricked, but it's not like they're just like as stupid.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's an interesting take on it.
Yeah,
for sure.
But also the thought that came to my head also is something that hasn't been resolved as of yet. Is I don't think, unless they explained it and I didn't catch it. Is there was a matchbook in the first season and the first episode that they were like, it's a mortal thing, but it's in heaven, right?
How'd that
but
get there?
How did it get there? And they didn't.
Right.
I don't feel like they explained that.
Yes. So to your point, right? The resurrectionist, right?
Yes.
That meant one thing,
right? Mm-hmm.
Right. Is he resurrected? Is he alive? And is he the one that was with Gabriel at the pub? And was he somehow with Gabriel with that matchbox ending up in heaven? I don't know. I'm trying to tie it back to like why they showed him. Right. Like why all the stuff about zooming the bodies and resurrectionist.
Maybe it's actually Lazarus.
The pub and, all of these, right? The Lazarite rating system for miracles, right?
Yeah. Well, I said maybe he's actually Lazarus because there's, I think it was on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the new one on Netflix, or the newer one, I should say. There was this episode. I didn't watch that series, but there was an episode that I did half watch about Lazarus, right? And he couldn't die. And that's based on what the Bible says, like what Paul says, I think, or somebody, whoever says about in the New Testament, it's given to man to die once and then the resurrection or something like that, right? And since Lazarus died already, he technically, according to the Bible, he couldn't die again, right? Exactly. So if they're going along with that kind of, thinking, he could be immortal, and this could be him. If you're thinking, yeah, it might be him, I'm saying it could be just because he can't die.
So you go all the way back.
So he just
is even further back.
Yeah,
interesting.
Exactly. So
interesting theory. No one spoil us, but
don't
don't tell us.
Theory crafting here.
I'm sure we're very wrong, but it's fun to guess.
Right. Oh, this is left.
Yeah.
Left
it's
field.
fun to guess when the answer's out there. We just don't know it yet. Right.
Exactly.
It'd be different if it was like we're watching it live.
Yeah.
But we're not. We're just being voluntarily ignorant of the results until we watch it.
Right. Exactly. So we hope that you enjoy our conjecturing.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've, to use a phrase we've used in a while, beat it to death, the dead horse. For those who don't know, that was a refrain back on the podcast for a while. We used to like to beat dead horses. We did. Mercilessly beat these horses.
Tried to find the fridge.
It was just a pulp. It was horse pate. Sorry to offend any horse lovers, but that's what we were doing. But anyway.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with that idiom in English, go ask somebody. I don't know what to tell you.
Or look it up. Google it.
Right. Be careful. I don't know what's out there, but As always, Google with safe search on, just in case. I don't know what you might find about beating dead versus something you may or may not be into, or didn't know you were into till you stumble upon. This is getting a little bit out of control. So just off all of the rails. But while Nate can still breathe with his emphysema / pneumonia, flu, whatever he's got, asthma. If you didn't catch that, watch the prior.
I was gonna say
reaction.
That's the inside joke from the last episode.
Gotta keep up. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. That's our kind of review, deep dive into the episode. So if you enjoyed this, make sure you give it a like, subscribe, notification bell, all that fun stuff. I guess that's it.
Yeah.
I think so. Maybe.
Yep.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So see you next time. Thanks.
All right.
Ciao.